All right, we're joined now in studio by the man that Skip Bayless has been saying for months should be the #1 pick in the draft. Baker Mayfield, welcome to Undisputed.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Awesome. So, Baker, we're excited to announce that you have a brand new series. It's going to be called All the Way Up on your journey from college to the NFL. It's going to premiere on July 29th on Fox. Why was it important for you to do this project, Baker?
For me, I've never really been about going directly by the script. It's always been a little bit different.
Oh, really?
So it was more of a kind of a behind-the-scenes journey of everything that entails leading up to the draft and a little bit post after that. So it's a lot of things that people don't know. And so just wanted to give a different outlook on it and just a little taste of what I was all about. Because there was a lot of questions leading up to the draft about that. So I thought, what better way to show that than just have people join in along the ride.
So let's talk about what makes Baker Mayfield tick. Let's talk about the walk-on mentality that you've had from day one. You lead Lake Travis High School in Austin, Texas to a state championship. I think that was your junior year. But you're virtually unrecruited coming out of high school, and you say, okay, I'll go walk on at Texas Tech. And they have just signed one Davis Webb, who's now Eli's backup, maybe his successor, we don't know, in New York, but he's a good player. Went on to Cal and did big things for Cal. And yet you walk in and say, nope, I got this, and you beat him out. And you started from the start, and you go up against SMU in that opener at SMU. Do you remember that game? You go 43 of 60 for 413 yards and 4 touchdowns against Garrett Gilbert, who had been a big star
Lake Travis.
at Lake Travis, and big star at Texas for a while. So what drove you to be able to pull that off?
My mentality, I was always competitive growing up. I love sports. It was just everything I did. It always had to be something being active or competitive. And so that was just how I was. And then when I hit my growth spurt later on, so I had to deal with, there was a time period where I was not the biggest kid, and I just had to mentally develop the attitude of I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to take no for an answer. It's just how it's going to be. I'm going to have to work for it, and that's just how I was wired from a young age. And so when it came to the college decision, the easy way out would have been to go into Florida Atlantic or Washington State, but that growing up and watching Oklahoma and being in Texas, football is everything, and big-time football is the real deal. So those weren't the choices for me. Nothing against those schools, but I wanted to play ball at a big-time place. And when recruiting fell through, I did want to go to a place in the Big 12 Conference and play a lot of those teams that didn't recruit me.
How much of a shot did you get right out of the blocks against Davis Webb? Wasn't he going to be the odds-on guy to win that job?
Definitely had to work my way up the ladder. Some after practice, young guy 7-on-7 is what they called it, just getting reps, trying to get the playbook down. And I think from there they saw that I knew my plays and I was able to throw the ball a little bit. And then from there I got some reps in the scrimmage. And I distinctly remember the conversation, Coach Kingsbury calling me. I was moving from a different dorm into the one I'd be in for the fall, and my mom was with me. And he called me and said, hey, so you had a good scrimmage today? And I remember, thanks, Coach. He goes, we're going to start trying to work you in at the ones a little bit. And at that point, I was like, I knew this would be worth it. That was like a weight lifted off my shoulders kind of thing. And it was an unbelievable opportunity to go in there and be able to compete right away, because not many guys get to do that your freshman year. Most of them, they come in and, there's a lot of things physically you have to change before you're ready to play. But at the quarterback position, I was able to use the mental side of it to help me out.
But then you pack your bags and you head on, mosey on down the road to Oklahoma.
Up the road, yeah.
Up the road to Oklahoma.
Well,
You take the same mindset?
Absolutely. But even more so then, they had a guy, Trevor Knight, who was coming off a Sugar Bowl MVP his redshirt freshman year.
against St. Nick's defense. Torched them. They always get torched in big games.
We weren't excited because we weren't going to be able to play the national championship game. So
So you mailed that one in. Yeah, I got you.
But go ahead,
Go
Baker.
ahead.
No, I had to carry that same mentality, if not more so. And Trevor being the guy that he was, it was a little bit different. He was an all-encompassing team guy, family-oriented, so he welcomed me in with open arms. And I was, in my head, we were focused on how am I going to get eligible for this first season.
Right.
We were going to think we could use the walk-on, wasn't on scholarship, maybe able to play right away. But it was just a little bit different getting there. And I think that's mostly because I grew up an OU fan. It just felt right at home. The best thing that happened to me was sitting out that year. I got to practice up against our defense every day, get better, and obviously there was a big physical change for me. I lost about 15 pounds of bad weight and put on some good, and it was a good year for me.
And sitting out and practice against them, were you thinking to yourself, I'm better than him?
I love Trev.
Yeah, but
But I was ready for a competition. I was ready for a competition. No, it was just between spring ball and then the summer workouts, the way that how easy it was to fit into the team, there was just something that felt right.
Right.
And it was like, I just felt like that should have been my team all along. And they welcomed me in with open arms. And I was just ready for, after that 8-5 year, to be able to play again.
So tell this story quickly, but you moved into just the student dorm when your first year at OU, because you're just a pure walk-on, like, Coach, I'm here, will you let me try, right?
So I moved in, my mom and I drove up from Austin to Norman because we couldn't talk to any of the coaches because of the transfer rules. We weren't going to try and go around it at all. We wanted to make sure we did it the right way, and got there. And the only reason I was able to leave Texas Tech as late as I did and enroll in Oklahoma was because I applied out of high school. So all I had to do was resend my application. They verified that I was accepted, and then we enrolled in classes and moved into the, it was Muldrow Tower in the Adams Center, floor 6, and stayed there for about 3 weeks where I wasn't able to work out with the team until I got a letter from the
By the way,
NCAA.
didn't you sign up for intramural softball?
I played a couple games of intramural, actually one game of intramural flag football. Then they.
Oh, flag football. You played flag
I played
football?
for one game, and then I had 2 championships in softball. I'm proud of those.
2 championships? How would you like it if this guy just came to your dorm room and said, hey, can I play softball with you guys?
sure, why not?
Hey. Weren't you Babe Ruthian in that?
It was fun. When you're playing slow pitch softball, it's not that difficult if you have a baseball background. So there was a lot of home runs in that one.
All right, so let's fast forward to this past year for the Oklahoma Sooners. Urban Meyer called the game you played at Ohio State on that Saturday night the greatest game any quarterback has ever played against him. What was it like for you? What happened? How did it feel?
The thing I always revert back to is that week leading up to that game, we had spent so much time thinking about how they came to Norman the year before that we wanted to get a shot at them. And there was just a different energy about it. You can feel something during the week of practice of, there was no doubt. Everything we were doing in practice, we're like, okay, you see it on film at matchups, this is going to work out great. And so going into it, everybody on the team had a confidence unlike any other. And so that was a game that was honestly just so much fun, getting to compete. And that was a revealing game for what our guys were going to be like, because we had a lot of young guys starting, a lot of young guys getting a lot of playing time. And so seeing how they rose to the occasion was huge for us. And it was one that I'll never forget.
386 yards. What was it? 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That'll work, right? And
It'll do.
Do you have, as you look back at planting the flag, it was just so Baker Mayfield. Do you love that you did it? Do you have any regrets about it at all?
I'm still working on some fans in Cleveland right now. I'm trying to win them over. But the thing is exactly what I said. There was so much thought about the loss that we had against them the year before that I spent so much time making sure that I would never have that feeling again. That was more of a celebratory thing with our team. We made sure to push each other in the off season and just make sure that never happened again. And, it could be something that happens in the locker room, but if a team's not going to celebrate a win, then why are you playing?
So fast forward to now, you're back in another quote-unquote walk-on situation. There's an incumbent quarterback, Tyrod Taylor in Cleveland, took his team to the playoffs, what'd you say, for the first time since 99?
Mm-hmm.
He's a good player. He's a proven player. Is he Davis Webb to you? I mean, are you attacking this as a competition, or are you willing just to sit and watch?
He's not. That's completely different. Davis and I were the same age, both going into our first year of college. Tyrod's been in the league. He's taken a team to the playoffs. You can tell when Tyrod walks in the room. People can say whatever they want about him, but until you're in the building working with him, you really don't have any idea what he's all about. That's a guy that I'll say it over and over again. I'm fortunate to be behind him and learn from him because of his work ethic, how he conducts practice, the expectations he holds his receivers to, and everybody. There's a standard. There's a reason why he took that team to the playoffs last year, and that he has the respect of our guys and has had it for since the beginning already. And so he's a guy it's going to be a great situation for me to learn from. And then also I have Drew Stanton, who's been around the league for a long time as well.
Yes. So are you ready, willing, and able just to sit and watch for a year?
That's obviously not who I am. Yeah, I want to play. I'm not going to lie. I want to play, but at the same time, I want to make sure I'm ready for whenever that time is. It's not in my control. It never has been, so I just need to be ready for it.
Go ahead. No, but you obviously you were just born to compete, so it's going to be hard for you to go to camp and not feel like you're competing with Tyrod for the job, right?
I'm still competing with myself every day.
Okay.
I got to be a better version of myself each day, and there's a long way to go, and I'm happy to have something to look forward to and work for.
Would you be disappointed if you didn't start at any point in time this year?
No, I think everything happens for a reason. I was disappointed when I didn't play during the 2014 season in Oklahoma, but everything happens for a reason, and that's the mindset I have to have now. Is you got to find the positives in it, and whether that's doing scout team stuff or just learning behind every rep, the ones I get, the ones I don't get, just watching. So there's going to be a positive in anything. You just got to find it.
So how different has it been in OTA's minicamp, just the feel of the pro game versus the college game?
Well, I'd like to say that I would have a normal program right now, but I have Greg Williams, my defensive coordinator, throwing just about anything and everything.
at you.
So, and that's the one thing that I've had to talk to our coaches about, because I get frustrated that I'm not having the success I wanted to. But in reality, I'm not going to see that defense every down. I'm not going to see some of those things, and it's going to be a little bit easier for me. So,
like crazy blitzes.
Yeah, and so the last about 4 or 5 practices slowed down for me, and things started to click. But before that,